Hi, I'm Mary Willard at 4348 Ozark. I'm shifting gears. I want to know about the property that you bought at the Divine Savior. You told us last month that the monies to purchase the property was from the sale of the parking lot that now you're going to make a gas station. I want to know how we're going to build the building. Where are you getting that money from? You told me that you're looking at maybe the police department moving there. So you're killing me because at one end of my street, there's going to be a police station. At the other end, on Irving, I'm at a gas station. I can't win. So where are we going to get this money from? You know, raise my taxes?
We haven't got.
But that's just my point, because you never included us in that decision either.
Well, wait a minute.
You didn't.
We haven't gotten to that point because there are different areas that we might be able to get grants and money.
But you already bought the property.
Buying the property is not the problem.
Oh, to me, it's a problem because I live there.
No, it's building,
Well,
the building, like you said.
okay,
And
but
that's
you're putting a
gonna
gas
cost.
station on this property, and if you don't put the police station there, what are you going to put there? That's like right there by me. I don't want this. I've lived here all my life. My parents built their home when they moved to Norridge. I don't want it. I don't want it, and I want to be included. And you told us we were. And then Tannhauser tells me when you get the plans, you're going to have meetings. Well, by that time, it's too late. You've already got the plans together. You know what you want to do. So when are we going to get involved?
Plans take months. It's gonna
I don't
take
care months. We need to be a part of it before the plans start. I want to know our new trustee. He lives on my block. I want to know if he likes this idea of that being put there. Because that affects him too. He lives across the street from me. I don't know what you're doing. We've got all this property everywhere. We've got 1,000 banks. Do you know we have like 5 banks in 2 blocks? 5! I'm a former banker and I wouldn't even want 5 banks. They don't even pay taxes. Do you people understand they don't pay sales tax? They pay big deal. They pay a fee every year because when I worked at the bank, I paid it. Big deal. That doesn't give us sales tax to pick up that revenue. I don't understand what you're doing. I sure hope that new board that's been elected has more sense to do some of this stuff. Before you do it, is at least ask us. First we had mattress stores, now we have banks, now gas stations. I don't understand it. I don't understand.
There's some things we do have control of, some things we don't. When they buy a piece of property, if they're properly zoned and everything, they can put a bank there.
I was part of it when I worked at a bank in Lincolnwood. I know how it works. I know how we got our facilities in. I was a part of that. It doesn't just happen unless you know somebody. So you don't need to explain that to me. They could come in and tell you what they're going to do. The only bank that did anything right was Wintrust. That bank is beautiful.
Well,
Doesn't even look like a bank.
And the whole corner's clean.
Right. But then we put that produce store in the middle of it all, and now it all went to hell again. I mean, at least build us and make us look, I don't know, we look like you don't want to be a part of Chicago, but we're turning into it. Because we're not a suburb anymore. Because we just keep letting all these people come in, go bananas, got their license back again. Now you're building, I don't even know what that, it was at the Chick-fil-A you're building on Harlem? Yeah, those two. I don't understand it. I think you need to rethink your whole, I don't know if you have a 5-year plan. Do you have a 10-year plan, a 5-year, or 1 year?
1 month.
I don't know. I just don't understand.
Next.
My name is Daisy Aguilera. I'm at 4026 North Overhill. And you mentioned the zoning, which is an excellent point, because the zoning was put in this village to protect the village. But in one fell swoop, the zoning was changed. And their excuse for changing the zoning was Edelweiss, which has been there for 50 years. They had it. it wasn't affecting the community. It didn't cause the problems that this gas station is going to cause. It's not going to bring the bad element, which it will bring. Every gas station in the world brings a bad element. It's then you add to that, because it's excuse me. What happens when you bring a gas station? You bring a certain element in. You bring the people with the motorcycles, you bring the hot rods, you bring all those souped up, because Irving Park is a good place for it because all of the traffic. But now you're bringing that mainstream traffic into neighborhoods. So this nice, quiet neighborhood where people actually know each other, the nice village of Norridge, which I moved into over 30 years ago, where I raised my children, where I raised some of my grandchildren. It's no longer being a neighborhood. It's become, like someone else said, the city of Chicago. It's no longer that island. And I like that island. I moved into the island because I like the island. And that's what was important to me raising my children, my grandchildren. And I think we're losing sight of the village that once was.
Anybody else?
Howdy, Anthony
Hello.
Caldas, 4030 Overhill. I just feel I don't want to even say lack of transparency, it was just more of a little bit disrespectful like. And I'll elaborate more on that. We talk about all this aspect of transparency and how they wish to know. I grew up in Norridge and I went to Ridgewood High School. A friend of mine, when he wished to rezone his house to add an addition, he had a huge sign on his front lawn. And it was there for weeks. And in fact, classmates were asking, hey, what's that sign for on your lawn? I actually saw the sign to rezone this piece of property, which is really rather close to me. And it was rather tiny and hardly noticeable, which I guess is the point. I understand. You know, we all have agendas and we all wish to sell what it is that we want to do. I'm a little bit more on the more moderate side of this, and I don't feel, and everyone just keeps saying, you know, a gas station. Okay, Irving Park is already a one-lane piece of traffic, and it's been more recently done like that. And I know that that's a state route, and I know that that's state-controlled, and it's not something that somebody from Norridge can really put their hand on to say, and yeah, I'm not gonna argue anything on that. But I don't feel like gas station is the right way to go. I like the concept of, I didn't even think about a sales tax as a way to bring in revenue. I never really thought about how the village makes money. And I have seen the aspects of budget cut from the village of Norridge. I have noticed that my non-emergency dispatch has changed. It used to be somebody local to me in my village hall. More recently, I actually called the non-emergency number, and I realized that she wasn't from Norridge because she didn't know where that Seed Center annex is, a little bit more eastbound. She had attitude with me and told me to call Chicago, and I knew that that wasn't Chicago. And so right away, I can kind of see the effects of budget cuts. I work in telecom. I have a history in IT, and I've worked at that little suburb that has all the clubs in it.
But that had nothing.
Okay, yeah.
That had nothing.
No, but I see the effects of budget cuts, and I see the effects of what's coming in as far as revenue.
But that didn't have anything to do with budget cuts. We were mandated by the state to consolidate. We had no choice.
I'm aware of the state's project. However, I'm also aware of other suburbs that are not doing this. However, those are the much more ritzier suburbs like Barrington.
Population.
Depends on population.
Yes.
You got 25,000, then you can do what you need to do. Rosemont's having the same problem right now. They want to have their own 911 center. Can't do it. They don't have enough people. So they got to get a consolidation. We are with Howard Heights, Schiller Park, and ourselves. But we didn't want to do it, they mandated us.
Mr. Kimura, thank you for clearing that up for me. And thank you for being a little bit more sympathetic. I would encourage you to use that same little bit of sympathy to maybe help fight, if you can, think a little bit more on our side. I know you are as well in for the village's happiness. Try to think about how you felt when the state mandated you to do something and maybe try to expand that onto us.
There's a lot of things I don't like, I understand.
Yeah. As far as maybe a better, a solution to this, a sales tax, I guess, is great. Okay, I guess, and so if we can think of some other solution, or maybe some different way to restructure the village real estate to help bring some of that sales tax, I'd be more open to hear some different suggestions. But thank you for your understanding.
Thank you.
And